Good morning, guys, and welcome to Medicaid Nurse Aid. This is Mr. Justice, and this is the Millard Area Vocational Center, and I'm discussing this morning your assignments. I want to do a video assignment versus just typing the assignment out on the canvas. We are now not coming back to in-person classes until at least January the 4th, 2021. So, we've got a lot of stuff to cover. This is a very trying time for everyone. So just hang in there, stay safe, and we'll do the best that we can. Now, as you see in the assignment the other day, I had put that I want you to do all the videos. There's several there. I want you to read those video descriptions as far as, let me rephrase that. I want you to read the skill sheet and then watch the videos, and then I want you to practice. And then when you feel competent in that skill, I want you to video yourself performing that skill, because that's going to be your checkoff. I will be critiquing that. Now realize you have all the opportunities to get 100%. You'll have the skill sheet, you'll have a video, you'll have time to practice with on those videos, so that will be awesome. And then we'll do your checkoffs virtually. Now realize that when we do come back to in-person classes, that I'm going to have all those skills in a hat, and we'll be pulling those skills out, and we'll randomly be testing you to perform those skills to get you ready for the state examination. So with that being said, it's not something that you just learn and just forget. So here's what I want you to do now. You're going to practice those skills. Make sure you turn in all your work up to what we have currently. I think I'm missing a few things from some people. Since this is going out publicly, I'm not going to mention you by name. You know who you are. But what we're going to do now is I'm going to give you a couple more assignments, a couple more chapters. Again, this is Long-Term Care Nursing Assistant, 8th edition. We're going to look at chapter number 1 and chapter number 2. Now, I'm not going to give a detailed lecture at this point. Just know that the first thing I want you to do, once you get caught up and you're practicing your skills, I want you to read chapter 1 and read chapter 2, and I want you to see if you can answer the review questions in the back. You do not have to write those. That is a self-review. But I want you to complete the workbook that accompanies this for Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. Now, I don't want you to do independent learning or optional learning just up to that point. So, what do those chapters cover? It covers the nursing assistant working in a long-term care setting. So, it's going to give you information about the types and purposes of long-term care, the different levels of care. It's going to describe the standards, the delegation, the job description. So as you go through there, after I post the PowerPoint for those, it'll help give you a guide along with the objectives in chapter number 1. Realize that there are different levels of care. Nurses right now in nursing homes, hospitals all around the country are stressed. This is a pandemic, COVID-19. Captain Obvious here. But understand that nursing staff, healthcare workers are in desperate need. And we must protect ourselves and help protect and help our patients. So as you look through there, it'll discuss paying for long-term care, paying for hospitalizations. It will discuss also your roles and responsibilities, nursing assistant standards, and it will also describe job descriptions. It gives you a framework of why you practice and how you practice nursing here in the Commonwealth. Now, let's take a look real quick at chapter number 2. But before we go into chapter 2, let me say one more thing. I saw here the 5 rights of delegation, which have to be met when you are assigned a task, when you're assigned something. As long as it's within your job description, you have been properly trained, you have the right supervision. There's all 5 there. I want you to read that. So let's look at chapter 2, resident rights, ethics, and laws. Resident rights, they have rights, and we have to respect those rights, and we do not want to violate those rights, and we want to provide for their care. They're in charge. Unless they've been adjudicated incompetent and have a guardian, someone overseeing their health care, we want to observe what they are saying. And even if they have a guardian, if there's any conflict of interest or any ethical situation, who do we report to? You report to your charge nurse. You report to your nurse. So they have all kinds of rights, and I want you to be familiar with those rights as you read chapter 2. Understand that there's an Ombudsman Program, and that person is there to be an advocate not for the facility, but for the patient. They're not paid by the facility, they are paid by the state. Some have volunteer ombudsmen, which help with residents. So as you look at that, remember they are an advocate for the resident. It'll talk about the legal aspects, torts, unintentional negligence, malpractice. Those are things that you need to be familiar with. That's the reason we have malpractice insurance, $2 million, $4 million. When we go into the nursing home, if something occurs, you're covered, I'm covered, to be able to help those residents if any harm has been done. You've got to have three things to have a lawsuit. You've got to have duty to act, you've got to have breach of duty, and you've got to have damages. You've got to have all three to have a strong case. We want to act within our duty, we don't want to breach that duty, and we certainly don't want to cause harm to anyone. It'll talk about wills, and one of the most important things is reporting abuse. Who do you report abuse to? You have an obligation. In the state of Kentucky, everyone has an obligation to report abuse and neglect. The first person you're going to report to is your charge nurse. If they, in turn, do not report it, that does not, just because you tell them, does not negate your responsibility to make sure that it's reported. Tell them if they have not taken action in a specific amount of time, almost immediately actually, then you need to go higher. Report it again. If there's an emergency, hey, I understand. If there's a code taking place, as soon as the code's over, report it. Go to your supervisor, house supervisor, director of nursing, directly to the Office of Social Services or to the Office of Inspector General. But you are obligated under Kentucky law to report that. So I can tell you that in the facilities that I am associated with, they take that very seriously, and once you report it, they're on top of it, which is awesome. Because we're there to protect the residents, but it must be reported. So Chapter 1, Chapter 2, long-term care. Trying to keep this video lecture short and concise. So Chapter 1, Chapter 2. Also your workbook, Chapter 1, Chapter 2. Now, you're going to be getting a test probably by Monday. I'm going to give some tests over some chapters that we've already covered. I will cover that in the assignment. Guys, I'm going to give you a little bit of time. Today is Thursday, the 19th day of the 11th month, November, 2020. Oh, man, 2020. Guys, stay safe. And we'll get through this. We'll get through this together, as the governor says. Some people don't like the governor. I like the governor. And I'm glad that we are taking seriously trying to help people who are sick, who are injured, who are suffering from disease. And I'm at a loss for words. I know that's hard to believe, lost for words. But let's just stay well. Until next time, Chapter 1, Chapter 2, long-term care. We want to be the best nurses that we can be. We want to help people and see them get better. All right. Stay safe. Bye.